outside of Christchurch, West Melton, and they're going to head to their.
I've just started it.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
They've made their holiday home into their home down in Central Otago.
Central Otago is really nice, isn't it? I've just been there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, you'll pop on some headphones. You can wear headphones if you like. It just means you can hear your own voice quite loudly, and you can hear me if I talk. With papers, just be careful
Don't
turning
shuffle.
them.
Yeah.
If you've been here before, you'll know the drill, and it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you bang something, it'll just come up quite loudly.
Yes.
I will. So, how long do we want the interview to be? Do we want this to be the whole?
Now, so she got 3 songs. I asked her to get 3 songs, and the songs are 50. What are the songs? It's like classical ones.
Most of them, there was one that was
I'll
8
take a photo
minutes.
of the songs.
Something's got to blow, but I don't think it's 8 minutes. I think it's 4 minutes. I meant to change that.
Sorry, can I just? I can download them.
And Planet Clear, B52. You know that?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Goodamil.
Perfect.
He was an amazing Aboriginal singer who died last year.
Okay, so we'll do about a 10-minute,
Talk.
10, 12-minute chat,
Yeah.
See how it
and
goes.
we could play a song at the start, and then you could come in and just start the interview. So we
Yeah.
could start off with a song,
Yeah.
and then you come in with the interview, and then we can finish with the last 2 songs. Or we could have a song in the middle. I could give you a 7-minute wave or a 7-minute in your ear, and you could go, okay, we're going to have a quick break, and here's a song that...
Should be loved together.
Yeah, so we'll do one at the start, one in the middle, and then
And
we'll
one at the
finish
end.
with
And
something. Does that sound good?
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just give you a wave at halfway, and you can introduce the song. Then we'll stop and just start up the conversation again.
Yeah. Different.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if we make mistakes because we're pre-recording,
Yeah.
and we can always do things again.
Okay.
Perfect.
I like it. Planet Clear,
Planet
B52.
Clear. Yeah.
Planet Clear, B52.
B52 Planet Clear. You're gonna give me the paper when you get. Okay, so. Good to see you, Jocelyn.
You're going to have the headphones on. I don't think I'll put headphones on because that'll be distracting.
I'm not really used to this stuff, to be honest.
Hey?
Not really used. This is my second one. I did the first one on Christchurch weather.
Weather?
No, like the winter.
Mm. Right.
Hello. Can hear you.
Right.
Go. Yeah, cool. Just I will first do the introduction about her. Shall I start? She has been heavily involved in the development of education for sustainability, NCEA achievement standards. Something wrong with
Say
my
my name, please.
I was going to say your name. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was going to tell your name at the end. Just introducing you, your heavily stuff. You're very famous.
No.
There's something computer issue, technical issue. So she had to turn off everything and turn on. She turned off the thing. You can wear that.
Hey?
You can wear that.
Yeah, I might. No, I don't like wearing. I hate headphones.
Same. Because I hated headphones. I was wearing for the last 3 years at classes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like headphones. Oh, no, that's fine. She has been heavily involved in the development of education for sustainability, NCA achievements, standards, and writing of senior subject guidelines. She's working with the youth most of the time. It's a bit hard to contact. If you want, she's the one person you want to contact. She has taught in the secondary schools for 25 years, both in New Zealand and UK. Her background is the social science, where she gained an honor degree in choreography from Massey University. Her passion for holistic place-based education has led to her involvement in the number of innovative education developments, such as Untouchable Charitable Trust Programs and Achievement Standards for EFS. Currently, she divides her working weeks between part-time for Environment Canterbury as an educator for sustainability and running her own education consultancy business, sustain it. She's keen gardener, community activities, and loves her learning now new things. Jocelyn Paplin with me today. Welcome to Studemonia. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
As well as she wrote many articles, Active Citizenship for Sustainable Future. Just do a Google search and say.
Yeah.
Cool. Jocelyn, I did a small introduction. Can you just introduce yourself in a brief?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting you do this Google search and find out about me. But anyway, I'm a Pākehā woman living in Mount Pleasant, quite a comfortable life really. And as you said, I like tending gardens and I've got hens to look after.
Wow.
And I am very involved in my community as a volunteer. And I'm really passionate about, activism for the planet as well. And that's why I like working with young people because they're the future, really.
Mm,
Yeah.
people like me.
Yeah.
Cool. So the leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence that you can help or conclude you do not care. To this topic, how leadership influences studies, students learning. Today we're going to talk about the most basic subject and lacking quality we all pursue. So, what do you mean by leadership?
What do I mean by leadership? Well, see, that's a really interesting question because it's such a rich vein to tap into. To most people, when they hear the word leader, they think of someone strong, charismatic, who kind of takes over. Yeah. People like Winston Churchill or Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
Even. But we don't need to be extroverted or charismatic to be a leader, really. And I actually think being strong and domineering doesn't necessarily mean you're a leader at all. So I like to think of leadership as a process of social influence. It's about maintaining the efforts of others toward achievement of a goal.
Mm.
And it's not coercive in any way. It stems from social influence, and I don't mean social influence on social media. I mean social influence of. It's not about authority or power. It's about how you influence others. That you require them to get involved. Then they're not directly reporting to you and saying, doffing their cap to you and saying, please sir, please ma'am, can you tell us what we've got to do? They are inspired by the goal that you've set them, and they want to get involved. And if you're thinking of somewhere like a workplace, it's employees that are engaged and they give extra effort, discretionary effort. They don't have to be asked to stay after work. They're so excited by the project they want to do it. And that doesn't mean to say that a leader exploits that either. So leaders are great, I think, at connecting people, finding the right people to work alongside others to really make that difference. Now, I could mention a whole lot of personality traits, attributes or titles that they should have, but to be an effective leader, I think they've got to have a sense of confidence in themselves that instills confidence in others that they will lead.
As well as a passion?
Passion's important. I mean, that's that thing of having confidence in yourself to know who you are and feel that you've got skills and talents that you can share with others. And I don't mean boasting about it. It's just there's something within you that other people, that instills confidence in other people, and other people have respect for you as well. And a good leader takes responsibility for what they do, for their actions, any faults that might occur. They don't blame other people. They take that on board and they move on with it. Yeah.
And as well as, do you have a role model in your life? Like a special person? I know when I was a kid, I like Superman.
Yeah.
But when you're growing up, Superman is just a cartoon thing.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone in your
Well,
life?
remember we asked that question. I asked that question of you all at
Waterwise,
Waterwise in
program.
May, and you talked about your father and how important he was in your life, and I think it's always interesting to listen to people of what they say, who they say the people were that influenced them, And I think I mentioned at Waterwise that Nelson Mandela was quite an influence on me because I was really interested in how he, as someone who was standing up for the rights and freedom of black people in South Africa, basically was thrown into jail for a number of years. Now, he could have come out of there an embittered man and could have really...
poisoned the society and stuff.
Could have poisoned it, but he didn't. He was quite inspiring. He brought love and and forgiveness to the whole conversation. But essentially, he didn't influence me in the way I am. I mean, you can't help but go back to your parents. And when I think about it, the greatest influence on me were my family members, particularly my parents and my two aunts. My parents were people who served their community, as were my aunts, and they all had integrity. They lived by the values of honesty and respect for others. My mum and her sisters were driven quite strongly by Christian principles of love thy neighbour, do as you would have done to yourself, the virtues of kindness, compassion, humility, diligence. Mum never no job was ever left unfinished. They also knew how to have fun, so I don't want them to think. And all three women took leadership positions in their community, in their schools, churches, that type of thing. My father, on the other hand, was quite a humble man. He would give his shirt off his own back if he saw that someone was in need. People wouldn't necessarily call him a leader in the sense that he didn't take on any roles like a chair of this or that, but people had huge respect for him because his word was his bond, and he got on and did what was necessary. And that could be sitting and listening to someone who was grieving, or going and helping a neighbour who needed their driveway concreted or their lawns mowed. And near the end of his life, he was rewarded. He was honoured with a QSM, which is a Queen's Service Medal for services to his community. So they were the people who influenced me of get on and do things and serve others.
Cool. Like, when you're in school, like, there are a lot of different leadership, like, roles. Like, for example, the class monitor, prefectships and stuff. But all the leadership things round up to several qualities, like the qualities like honesty, integrity, confidence, inspire others, commitment and passion, good communicator, decision maker, and empathy. What does the leadership influence the studies, like learning of a student's studies?
Well, see, that was interesting because you did send me these questions, and I thought, well, how does leadership influence students' learning? And when I think, now that you've mentioned things like, being the class monitor or the head librarian or prefect and things, and I actually think back to my own schooling and the schools that I've been in where they've had these kind of roles of prefect and class monitor. Those people, many of those young people, those students that took on those roles weren't necessarily the people who've become leaders later in life.
Yeah.
They were often seen by other kids as a bit of goody two-shoes. So those kind of leadership things in schools don't necessarily set the pattern. It depends on the mentorship that happens as well. And I actually think the influence on students' learning is more about the relationship that they have with their teachers, their educators within school. And the most important leadership within school comes from the school administration. And I've been in a number of schools in my 25 years of teaching. And where there is a great leadership from the principals, the deputy principals, and even a number of the teachers in school, that they've really focused on developing the relationship and with the students, but also setting a direction that is based on values. Yeah, and that understanding what the values of a place are, what are important for handing on to young people, so that they grow up to be the best people that they can be in the community. People who contribute as citizens.
Cool. That means like even you being a head prefect or prefect in the school time, it doesn't mean you're going to be a leader in your life in the future. But sometimes the people who are not those kind can be leaders. It's to depend on the people who you talk to, who you like to be and stuff. It's just the mental side helps you to be a leader.
Oh yeah, I think it's the kind of conversations that, like, I think of someone who was a prefect at our school when I was going to school, who became a prefect because they were someone who would go, bow down to the teachers and do as they're told all the time, never question anything. And there were a couple of us who, and I think of a friend of mine who didn't become a prefect because she was questioning things all the time. Now, she's actually been a leader in the organisations and businesses that she's been in, because she's someone who questions and asks why to do things, rather than just go, right, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, sir, I'm doing it because you've told me to. You want to understand why things happen.
So like we see direct leaders and indirect leaders.
Yeah.
Sometimes the indirect leaders are the persons who head the companies ahead. For example, like the Microsoft owner,
Yeah, and that's that kind of, Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because some of these people that you, like the Microsoft, are kind of entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads on to, the entrepreneurial discussion that
yes.
we've had before. Not all entrepreneurs are leaders.
Definitely, that's true.
They're ideas people, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
I know you know a lot about Maori World because when I watched the Border Wise program, she was talking about Maori. I was like, wow, she knows Maori. I want to learn it. What do you think about the leadership difference in the Maori world? Because only like they lead people and they're like the Maori people. What about the leadership?
You see, I can't. In a way, yes, I'm really appreciative and try to build my knowledge about Māori world.
Yeah.
It's not my role to comment on Māori leadership
Right.
because I don't presume to know beyond what I read and what I understand, and I'm not Māori. But I do know that those who take on leadership roles or are given leadership roles often have mana and prestige that is recognised by those within their community, and that they understand that they have responsibility to their people. A leader within the Māori world has a huge amount of responsibility to their people.
Yeah.
And I think someone within the Pākehā world often doesn't carry that weight of responsibility that I think Māori leaders do. So I take my hat off to many of them. It's a lot of work that they do for their people.
Cool. Shall we have a break? Because she wants to keep talking. Yeah. 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 Seriously, I just started. So we done 30 minutes.
You've got one?
30. We have done 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't know that we done 30 minutes, and I was still like on the second. So, shall we reduce the songs because this conversation is much better. We can shorten the songs if you don't mind,
Yeah, not one.
because the conversation is really interesting. Yeah. Eight? Yeah.
What one do you want to go on to?
So, we can put a one song, so you can,
Yeah, I don't mind.
because
Yeah.
this conversation is really nice, and it's gonna help most of the people. All right.
Mm.
Shall we put a one song, and carry on the conversation? Yeah. 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 We will keep just going and we can put the song. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Mm. No, so we will go to the 8 minutes.
So let's have a look at what questions we can leave out. Because probably a whole lot of stuff about entrepreneurship. I mean, I could rave on about that for ages, but I think we could cut that whole thing
So then
out
shall-
unless you think that's something that's really important for the group that you're actually targeting.
So yeah, I was like doing because if you're getting out of studies, if you finish after finishing studies, if you got the entrepreneur ideas in a skill, you can start off own skill,
Mm.
job or something.
Mm.
So that was like the main point was how can studies help you to go to find your own work and be your own leader.
Okay.
That was in my mind.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the can leadership help you achieve your dream goals?
Yeah, and then let's miss out what are the lack of qualities in
Yeah.
today's leaders.
Yeah,
'cause
so
I
we
could
can
rave
get rid
on
of
about
that.
Donald Trump for quite some time. That lacks any quality.
Can, so since we talk about the leader qualities in the first part, you
Yeah.
describe it well. We can cut off the 9th. We can go back to 10th. Does leadership make an entrepreneur? And can you shortly say about the activities you had?
Okay.
With the youth
I
engagement?
don't need to do the.
So
So let's just have a look at some of the events that are coming up, so anyone can get involved and
yep. So you can say about them in 2 minutes.
hopefully.
You got a lot of events coming up.
I just say, you know, a whole lot of things that they could do. Look it up on Google.
Oh yeah, you can say a page or Facebook page. Do you have a Facebook page for
No, we're not putting it up there. It's just well.
Ah yeah, let's do like this. So tell about the names of the programs you're doing.
Yeah, just give me this one. I'll do. If you want to get involved in physical activity at Plantat, it's always great. There's one coming up on the 15th of September. Oh, that one. But there's lots of great things happening with Talk Fest and sharing ideas.
Yeah.
I can do
So
that.
yeah, we can do the can
Yeah, I'll do
leadership
it as
help.
quickly as possible.
Yeah, can leadership help you to achieve your dream goals?
Mhm.
So number 7.
Mhm.
Then I will jump into your. I think that can
You
help.
want the entrepreneurial thing as well?
Yeah. So that leads to the entrepreneur thing, doesn't it? Like if you can leadership help to you achieve your dream goals, it will help. Like it lead up to the entrepreneur.
Mhm. Okay, so the next one's 10. So we don't do 8 and 9.
9.
Yeah.
So because of the lack of leadership and because you talk about them on the first
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and it was very nice.
Yeah.
So we can do 7 and 10 and 11.
Okay.
Then you can say about the events on the same
Yeah.
time.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll start with. Shall I? Yeah. 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 After that, we can sort out some. So it's 19.2, isn't it? 19.26. 96. Oh, what is for it then? Yeah. If your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams said that.
Okay.
Oh. Can leadership help you to achieve your dream goals?
Yeah, see, that's an interesting question as well, because I don't think leadership per se helps you achieve your goals. It's more about the values and principles you believe in and that shape you. So the influence of others is important in this regard. It's who you've been taught by, who you've been mentored by, someone who may have seen something in you, and I've seen that with, you know, with some of the young people I've worked with over the years. I've got lots of stories where these young people could have made a choice that's detrimental to their future. But they've been lucky enough to be connected with someone, a mentor who's switched on a different light, showed them a different path. So I actually don't think necessarily that the leadership will help you achieve your goals, but it's what values you live by. I think it's the most important thing, really.
Yeah. I feel the same thing because the people who are living and you talking to will change your things and stuff. And
It helps you reflect on things. So I think that's the really important thing of working with
yeah,
others.
we did a lot of reflection activities at the Waterwise thing.
Yeah.
Cool. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Henry Ford. And innovation sorry. I just can't read the word. Some word doesn't work with my tongue.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Can we do that part again? Yeah. So good. I will start from the if. Yeah. If you think you can do or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Henry Ford said that. Does that leadership makes an entrepreneur?
It's interesting, you know, it's how people talk to themselves in their mind about what they're capable of doing. But does leadership make an entrepreneur? No. I don't. It's an interesting question. My initial response is no. Someone with great leadership skills may not be a good entrepreneur, and vice versa. An entrepreneur may not have any leadership skills. Entrepreneurs are often the founders of, the bringers of ideas, the founders of companies, but they don't always necessarily bring that company on to be the best it can be, because leadership is a way of being, whereas entrepreneurship is something that you do. And so the leadership in a company, if you're running a company, you've got to be a people person. You've got to be able to bring the people on board. The entrepreneurial spirit is necessary to keep it refreshed and innovative, but the employees need a leader, someone they can believe in, that will make it, help
happen.
them feel as though they want to be part of this, and take an idea from being one individual's thing that is very ego-driven to something that everybody wants to embrace.
Yeah, that's the thing. In today's world, we see people say, like, I will plant a tree today, but they never do. They think about the thing and put it on Facebook and say, I will do it just for the show off. But actually, they are not doing the thing. Some leaders are like that, isn't it? Showing off the skin, like, I will do it, but actually he's not doing. He's asking other people to do it.
Well, I think a team is really important if you want something to really happen. And I think of this in education, I think of it in business places, that if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a leader and you want to move things forward, you've got to have a right-hand man or woman that's actually going to cross the T's and dot the I's. And I think of this with some of the fantastic principals I've had in schools who really inspire me. They're not the person who does all the nitty-gritty stuff. And entrepreneurial people are often like that. They've got all these amazing ideas. And I think of someone like Britton, who designed an amazing racing bike.
Yeah.
He got a group of people around him who would actually move forward with some of his ideas, his inspiring ideas. He can't do it. Entrepreneurs can't do things on their own.
As well as, even you get a degree or anything, you're looking for a job and stuff. But the entrepreneurs are the people who doesn't need an educational background. They will work for your dreams and find something, isn't it? And I know, like, you work for ECAN and other lot of social activities. Is there any events that people can join? And
yeah, I mean, there's a number of things that are going on. Environment Canterbury, for whom I do part-time work, runs regular youth meetups on one Friday a month, so that's a time to get together with other young people. But there's so much happening as well, and I think intergenerational conversations are really important. So there's some really interesting people out there. And
since she's talking about the Waterwise, can you just briefly explain what the Waterwise for our audience?
Waterwise is a program that's funded by the Untouched World Charitable Trust. In partnership with organisations like Department of Conservation or Environment Canterbury, to ensure young people have the opportunity to go delve deeply into natural resource problems, issues around sustainability, but at the same time develop their leadership skills.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty intense week.
It is really. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there any more events?
Yeah, there's just so much going on at the moment. If you're really interested in climate change issues, getting involved with Gen Zero or 350.org is fantastic. If you're interested in the creative side of things, Fab Lab here on our campus is, go along and have a look, have a chat to them. Crafting groups, Exchange Christchurch. But if you like getting out there and planting a few trees and getting to know other people on a day out, there's something coming up on Saturday, 15th September, on the banks of Waimakariri. Check out the Sustainable Coastlines page for details of that event.
Cool. If they want to contact you, you might see on these events, isn't it? You'll be standing on the group of people, young people. She's really working with the young people, and she is the mastermind. She knows how to handle them, any solution, and she will teach you a lot of skills and qualities you should have in your life. In person, I met her on this Waterwise program, and I developed much qualities and stuff, which I make my proud about myself and say I can tell anyone and recommend Jocelyn is the person you can trust.
Thank you. Too kind. But cool. Contact me through Environment Canterbury, and they can just look me up on that page.
Yeah. You just need to do a Google search on Jocelyn Papley, and you will find a lot of information about her. And I was like, wow, she's famous.
Thank you, Stephen.
Are you blushing? Cool. So how long is that? Yeah,
That good time?
it's 19. It's 90 minutes.
90 minutes, so
Nine.
far out.
I didn't even realize that I was doing 90 minutes. It was a good conversation.
That's not even half of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Wow, so we will have a
Yep.
chat about the songs.
Yep.
Then I can leave you alone. And I'm really sorry.
No, that's right. Look, I'll leave you with this anyway.
Yeah, so I will put all this stuff on the Facebook page. So we got a Facebook
Oh,
page
have
for
you?
yeah, and I will send you the podcast link when this is
For
podcast.
the what?
The podcast link for the radio show.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I will send you on
Yeah,
email.
do. That'd be good. Yeah. I don't know which song would be because you just want one song now, is that right?
So let's talk to Nancy.
Okay.
She's this editor, and I'm just
She's the woman in charge.
like
It's
you need
great.
a woman. You need a woman in the right side. She's the one in the left now.